We know it's down there somewhere in the embarrassing part of our body, but we don't know exactly where it is. Um, and anyway, I had a blood test, and the PSA score was slightly high, despite the fact that I had no symptoms for any urinary issues or anything like that at all. And the long and the short of it is, I was referred to a urologist in a hospital in southern Spain, who did a series of tests. First of all, I had to have an ultrasound, a bit like a pregnant woman. I had the finger test, which is something that most men do think of when they think about prostate issues. They always think of the finger test. That's not the first thing that happens. It's always a blood test. A PSA is just a simple blood test. When you go for your annual Wellman checkup, you're going to have your bloods collected and tested for iron and cholesterol and various other things. It's literally just checking a box that says you're going to also test for PSA. Everything was coming back normal. I had an MRI that came back normal. I had a CT scan that came back normal. And then, almost as a last resort, my urologist said to me, I'm still not sure why your PSA score is creeping up. It was never sky high, but it was just above where it needs to be. So in Europe, most men or most doctors say that your PSA score has got to be below 4. Most men, it's usually in the region of 1, 1.5, 2, something like that. That's a comfortable level. Mine initially was 6.7, and it started creeping up. It went to 7.1, and then it went to 10.6 over the space of a few weeks, which is why the urologist was concerned. So I had to have a biopsy, which is a proper operation. You're knocked out, your legs are up in stirrups, and they do a biopsy on your prostate, and they retrieve some microscopic samples from your prostate, and test it for cancer. And that came back with signs of cancer. So I walked into the urologist consulting room being told that I was going to have the all clear again. And she sat me down and said, I have some bad news, but you do have cancer. And it was as if the whole world just stopped. Luckily, I had my wife with me, and she quickly reached over and grabbed me by my hand. But the rest of the conversation is almost a blur. All I remember is that she said to me, the rest of your life is going to change forever, which is true. But it's not as dark as it might seem. Fortunately, in my case, the cancer was caught very early. I did not have to have chemotherapy. Initially, I was offered the option to have surgery and have my prostate removed, but I was then given another scan with, in Spain, they call it with contrast. So what they do is they inject like a radioactive fluid in your veins, and that lights up any signs of cancer in your body. And they found that I also had a small cancerous growth in one of my vertebrae. So it's metastasized from my prostate, which is down near my bladder, all the way up to 2/3 up my spine. Now, you could argue, yeah, but Jeremy, you're not a very tall man. That's not very far. True. If I was 6'7" instead of 5'7", that's more of a jump. But I am unfortunately only 5'7". But it's very rare that prostate cancer will metastasize up into the spine. It usually, if it's going to move to another place in your body, it will usually be in the lymph nodes, close to your prostate. It could be in your bladder, it can be in your pelvis, and maybe even in your ribs. But to go up to your spine is quite unusual.